주체도 아니지 가서 변하지 냠지게 소리 안 디지털이야 된 가서야지 론디나 말에 구주 디지털이야 아니 가서야 등진차 치시요 디지털이냐 아주 지 가서야 가서 디지 제수 친체 로트야다 안 소수 계획면에 가르쳐줘야 해요 디디 상으로 아니 차 누버를 따지 돈나지 아주 되게 심지어나도 대화 대외주가 되버 주시지 뭐람도 되게 하네 다시 아주 심지어 탐지 대화 대외주가 되면 제투야지기 고급사고는 괜찮지 포용의 요인주사 디디 아주 다 지게도 뒤균시에야 대발에도 디디 다예요 지금 마다지기 뒤균이 앞에 심지어 탐지 대화 대외주가 되면 주사데 소소 삼소다 소소 차지 대비입니다 근데 저스게 말씀도
And the fifth point is the climate change, and it is found out that there is a very strong, important crisis or change is going on, and it is in the whole world, but especially in the Himalayas. I'm told that the change is going much quicker and much stronger in the Himalayan regions. Some people told me that maybe about 5 times more quickly the change is happening in the Himalayas. So therefore, these effects, these kind of climate changes are affecting the world, the whole world, and everybody in a very strong way. So therefore, there is also the United Nations. I've heard that the United Nations is doing something strong this year, making some plans, following those instructions or those examples or those leads for us also, and also from our own side, from our individual sides, if whatever we can do, I think it's very important that we should try to do, because we always say, may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. But then when it comes for us to do something, to take the responsibility for that, then that time, we find out whether it's really truly that we are saying these prayers from our heart, or actually we are putting that into action, or it's just something that we murmur through our mouth. It's just, it should not be something like that. So when we have this chance and there is to do something for the happiness of the sentient beings and the causes for that, then we should try to work on that. So it's a little bit, that's about the protection of the environment. This morning, I have a little bit of headache, so therefore maybe I will start with some questions and then see what happens. The first question is, listening to His Holiness teachings on CDs and DVDs, has the lung been received? Has the practice instructions been received? Did you hear the questions? No?
No?
You
Yes?
didn't hear the questions?
No?
Yes or
Yes?
no? No. When you listen to the CDs and DVDs of His Holinesses, does it mean that we have also received the lung, the reading transmission, and have you received the practice instructions or not?
And also the empowerment. There's no need. 다들 그랬으려거든. 다들 내 도스파 전주선 지당이 하나 드린다고 지리야. 장소리야. 좀 최 롱도 최시야. 롱시야. 대단님도 태가르 인터넷 규제 선물이야. 태가르 가서 다다다다 라이브 성을 어떤 거요? 드린 뉴스안에 드린 게 년게 장 주보면 망보지게 빠진 년底 당연해요. 오늘 전에 청아 제시하면 때 근데지다. 하지. 청아 최동 안에 배 드린데 가서 수주 샤를 보지. 장주마다 되게 되면 년게 상물은 누가 아니었어. đúng thế nên rằng cái chi suy đi lama đi đi chế đông à đi chế đông đấy lama đi mấy cái thong rồi mà thong rồi cả đó họ tự cấp đi lấy để đi chế đông mà xem đấy lama đi này cấp đi sang thế cái à long suy về xem đấy dùng sang này anh phải chỉ long cái thuyền rồi họ rồi chui cái số rồi anh xem mà tôi chỉ đang cái đó DVD, VCD, 되게 상계 걸도 요 말아. 들이 주산. 나한테 타주 가르쳐 요. 이게 상 고수. 다 이미냐. 예사머리야. 버지. 강사 카실리. 개버지. 그랑 카실리야. 고쳐 시베르스. 그거 미세요. 셰마도 퍼블릭 네트워크야. 고쳐야 돼. 그래서 갈아 하면서.
Like for instance, today I'm talking to you, here is giving an instruction or a long or whatever, and then at the same time maybe it's also going on the net, internet, and so therefore lots of people are listening to what's going on here. Now the question is, you know, when a teacher is teaching, and then there are kind of students who are listening to that teaching. So if the teacher is thinking that this is, you know, where I am teaching, or where it's meant to, whether the teacher actually sees them with his eyes or not, and there is a kind of a purpose, a deliberate kind of intention. And then I think it could be okay, it could be that they receive it. If there is a deliberate, like the teacher is thinking that I am teaching to these people, and the students also taking part that, whether the teacher is actually seeing them or not. But if it is not that, then I'm teaching here, but you know, people are listening everywhere that, you know, kind of happen to listen. This way, whether they get the transmission or not, I don't know. Because these CDs and DVDs were not there during Buddha's time, and this is something new, so I cannot exactly say how it works, but I think that if there are deliberate you know, intentions and things like that, then for some particular people, I think can get transmission through media and things like that also.
시에마도 라메 마치 지두산에 라면잔 하마고 로마지 롱톱 야 로맨스 가르쳐야지 라면잔 하마고 라면 롱낭 생에서다 되게 추니 하고 싶은 거 근데 이제산 대대 용서만해 아버지
Otherwise, you know,
제가 드린 주산에 약속 중이나 오늘 전에 채도 안에需要 약속했어.
A Lama gives you lung and you don't know who is receiving. And then the student is receiving lung, but you don't know from where it's. So nobody knows who is getting and who is giving. So I think it doesn't work that way, you know. I think there should be some kind of a connection that the Lama knows that these people I'm giving lung, and also these people know that I'm receiving it from them in this time. So some kind of, you know, connection has to be there. Otherwise it doesn't seem to work.
하나 도바사리 유스라스. 저한테 낸다는 데는 아니 도바사리 유스라스. 도바사나 롱도야가나 하라.
Even, you know, looking at the, you know, the question, the questioner seemed to have a doubt, you know, whether it's possible or not. If there is a doubt, then usually it doesn't happen.
Okay.
The second question, His Holiness, how the Buddhism understand the fear? Where does it come from? How does it grow in our mind? And how can we stop this?
I don't know which kind of fear.
There's a kind of continuation.
Fear?
Sometimes looks like we are attached to something not so good through though very harmful, or we can not stop to think in affective emotion. The English is, I think it must be written by a foreigner, not English speaking.
그렇지.
The Yembatin Kakarindu. Fear is that Jingon.
예선 뒤경 아주 지소라 따위. 지소라 따와서 숨겨야겠어. 풍부집에 소라 따다 따와서. 지소라 따와서 되지 풍부 가르쳐야 풍부하라 때는 풍부의 초반질이야. 다 인사지. 지당의 풍부가 미망부지기 풍부가人类的다 말되네. 그 초반에 다르지. 근데现在아주 망무용이 알았더니 그래서 풍부의 초반日本的다사日本的지 삼다시도산 근데 지금 다배 리지 도도 공공으로 삼다시도산 근데 지금 직다 용산에 앞에 땡저지 도도를 써야하다. 지 가져야 되지. 나라배 폭사래. 나사래. सब선로지 가져야 땡저 차고 쉬어야 인주산 뒤준세나 때는 직자대. 다 리부 아테스 주바지 봐. 아주 진대배 인주산 뒤준세나 때는 직자께야 내라고 용어요. 직자께야 슈침부 용어요. 가이사다 수수 등지 아테디 슈침부 공부집에서 나다. 근데 미준세나 때는 아주 조다 집어서야 가는 때는 연구 알았으나 근데 등지지 여치 다 도도는 주고 지여치 다들 근데 지금 등지 슈심부 지여 인도산 대라 때는 언제시 잡아 대배 라토바 대쇼르토바는 근데 대나토바는 이제 다 등지 슈심부 연구 소식 들이 인도산에 딱 아주 잘 되지 그래 근데 이제 지소를 다 풍부로디 마치 가서에 가서 템퍼먼트 봐 다도 모두비 최제는 근데지래야 통체 규모더비 근데 가서다 규모더 브랜드 유경원의 수 초대버레면도 뭐 초대버레면도 선발하지 근데 지금 뭐 상부를 쳐외미나 주마도 되나 바지다 근데 전 집어 깨고 알면서 그 주마도 가서 규매 추니로지 추나가 더 소다 인주산에 콜레베 추나가 나외 송인데지 가서 콜레야 샘제샤메 되버지 콜레야 가서 지 두바슈샤네 콜 폰라스케 여마로 건 나외 송인 잡시네 근데 주사 대답을 다 간다 띵주 주마서 동화 차베 미나 지바케안 디스 그렇지 용과에는 송도 근데 주사 지바케시도 좀 다도 짐바 슈심부지 여버들 때는 용되면 면도서 신다다 가서 where's come from 되네
두 번째
okay
so ultimately we have this looking at the aggregates as the self. The 5 aggregates, each of them we don't say as the self, but we understand all of them together as I or self. And then we take that self or aggregated self as something very real and something very solid. And because of this, then we have like a fear that this thing that I call myself an aggregate is something that I might lose, something bad might happen to that. So therefore, the fear comes. The fear, the real true source of fear is that, the clinging to a self-identity. Because I see self as something separate, something like a whole, one thing, something that is solid.
Interdependent.
And independent, something independent. So therefore, then that independent self, I fear of losing, I fear of, being sick, something bad happening. So this is the really the source, the true source of all the fears. Now, if we can look deeply into that and see that these aggregates are not like that, not something independent, not something totally solid, not something one, but they are like an illusion. The more you see them as an illusion, interdependent, dependently arising, then maybe there is not much need to have too much fear. If you see, ourselves as or aggregates as like a reflection of the moon in the water, for instance. Now the reflection of the moon in the water does not get damaged. Whatever you do, you can beat it, or you can do whatever. That doesn't really destroy. Nothing is lost. So therefore, when you understand more the interdependent and dependently arising, that kind of, you really deeply get introduced to that, deeply sees that, then there is there's less need or less reason to feel the fear.
Today, you say, "You can't." How far in it? And Jira Shai Umarason. Penangazu Chunjung Kaliha. And Penankalea Gina Tick. Raw, Chu, do ties it is. Tadaji Paji Zabuni Hindaji, the less sort of Jungi. shana tsao shu yung li. Ta ngone shabi na Quran nang kha le ya lo chu du da ji dam de cha li de kha so ji ji le ten ne kha so gyu gen ro ji ten ne zhong wa ro ji kha so de de ji shana tsao ro ji shana tsao sa na ya da kan da ko gyu gen le ten ne zhong yi ba ya ga yin ba da ya ga yin be na ne yang ko kha so ji gyu gen tin ju li de ngo cha yon de sa na 다 민세 콜이야 신하게하러 지금도 아도 좀 루브루도 거지 레인 유산에 섬유율이 매버지 고주 삼로 년은 경쟁 삼로 당호 맞죠 루브루도 똑자고 자질이야 진짜 진 두개를 자연 유산 섬이야 안다로 용대야 디스를 용도
So the main thing is to understand clearly the causes and the effects, to really see how things are. That is the very important kind of remedy for the fear. For instance, when I was young, when I was a child, when there is like clouds in the sky and then lightning comes and then the thunders come, I was very afraid. But then when you see clearly that how that is happening, many different things coming together, that it is summertime, there is clouds coming, and then all the different how exactly these things are happening. When you see this, when you understand this, then you know, then you don't have to be too afraid. But all these things suddenly happens and you don't know what's happening, then you have fear. So this shows that the more you understand the kind of causes and conditions and how things really are, then there's less need for fear, less reason to have fear. I think this second question sometimes looks like we are attached to something not so good and very harmful. We cannot stop doing it. I think although we know that what we are going to do or what we are attached to is very harmful, still we cannot stop doing it.
Let them go? I don't know.
Yes. Then the next question is a little bit long. How to deal with a lot of negativity experienced in my mind due to conditions in India. Physical discomfort causes mental unhappiness. I am no sooner here and I want to go back home to my comfortable environment. This attachment to comfort and cleanliness and non-pollution, crowd, noise, etc., make me feel like I am punishing myself and making myself suffer by coming to India and especially Bodh Gaya. Much back pain, headaches, stomach troubles, etc. It used to be great adventure to come to India, but now brings up more negativity than positive mind state. What to do?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm going to lie, Bihar yung kugaw chungwa res. I already told, you know?
I already told that you had this good opportunity to come to Bihar.
Tadi Jahane nga picnic jahane yong ina ni, di yong yuji marasong nga zo. Di yong ina, josan lumba ji de, ja aina song tanga di jiang zi xie wen xie de. Picnic tangka yong ina, ngone the stomach problem je, kaso chamba ram di xie di sa ne, ane kala kawo yorwa. Ta dinje marwa nga zo yogi, tari yong a de zo di goba kang che di yong lo seman ji kaso da ji. Assembly yang spiritual semua tu jadi Quran mengasah ada tu cuaran tu ni ya cerita yang berubah. Jadi tu tu sahaja cakap. Cakap pada stoma dekat apa kalau ada cuba ini ni ya tadi Quran tiga cakap ada tiga kalau experience nyong ada tiga kalau tadi kalau tadi nyong da bji la ba zi che nyam nyong da bji lang ga nyam nyong da bji zi che ta be na zu zhe ma song ne ka shui be na qi jian de su yong ju sa ne ane nam ju na ne yong mo zhe na ne yong ri lu na ne yong zhi qi ya da na xi ane ja ga le ya yong a le ya ji na sa na da de ge sa mo ja ga le yong a ge be ti che ne ji ge zi xia ma da ji ge wo shi to ya de ma re shi and once toya di kaso daji spiritual tendency kaso ji 초나로 지라 명아로 토고 데레스 계속 그냥 핑 당가 내요는 안데서 너무 소성도 마시 그냥 소리야 예 자가디 내당 같이 임비 information 스타라면 대가서 토예는다 그냥 주 고타주 치초 제만에 인디아 가서 지와 유고 전점자 되게 되 많아서 됐어.
So most probably none of you have come here for a picnic. If you came for a picnic, maybe it's not the right place to come. But you came for another purpose. We all came for another purpose, a spiritual purpose, to find a kind of a spiritual experience. So for that, and for that purpose has to be the primary purpose. And then on the way, all these things like cold and stomach and all these problems is a kind of a part of that journey. It's an experience. So for instance, you go somewhere and then you have to travel through aeroplane, through train, through cars. So there are lots of things you go through, but those are just part of the journey, and that's not the main purpose. So the main purpose of coming here is the spiritual experience. So therefore, I think this is what we have to understand. We have to kind of see the purpose, why we are coming here, and then try to work on that. If anybody came here for a picnic, then better look more carefully at the tour guide.
아니 바랑 안 한다고 처음이나 도지들이 뒤에서写的 차와 자가를 소소로다 아니지 가서에 교육다 제 장원을 체 lots of attendance lots of good food 봐 아니 should 장원서 지지도다 내려서 산다 지 재미있어 미스다 이내 심리사 용문도 쓰다 용아도做的 양으로 체 아니 망보지 차이에 비인자 변하지 밀레 취시야 미토리샤 망부시야 자유의 인사 되게 디제로도 참참지 나로잖아 서서로 제자 정도다 참참 괜찮죠 나로잖아 디지 가서야 야버지 용사래지 되지 가서야다 오늘 알아 비하를 랩대베 따지 된고도상 구주주의 잔면은 하지다 비하를 내면자 하고도 저하를 인주사 비하를 랩에 따지 된고도 선고도 되네 대 용금에도 상상 애들이 인주사 참석하고 가서야 된제게 소수의